Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for coming. Welcome to Day 6 of the Toronto International Film Festival. My name is Lydia Ogwang, and I am a member of the programming team for the Toronto International Film Festival, as well as year-round at the TIFF Cinematheque. And it is my great pleasure to welcome you to today's screening of Euzhan Palcy's A Dry White Season with the wonderful Euzhan Palcy in attendance. So to begin, we'd like to acknowledge that this event is taking place on the treaty territory of the Mississaugas of the Credit Nation, and as well as the traditional territory of the Haudenosaunee, the Anishinaabe, and the Huron-Wendat. We are grateful to have the opportunity to work in this community.
5 more, 7 more, what do you think?
And we would like to thank Park Circus as well for providing us with the film today. It's my great pleasure to speak about Euzhan Palcy, who we have here with us today. Euzhan was born in Martinique, and her debut feature, Sugarcane Alley, won more than 17 international awards, including a César for Best First Film, which was the first ever awarded to a Black director. Her second feature, A Dry White Season, which we are about to watch today, premiered here at the festival 30 years ago, and was nominated for an Oscar as well. And it's with this very film that she became the first Black woman to ever direct a Hollywood studio film, which is an amazing feat. Palcy made a name for herself as a sumptuous storyteller with a particular knack for adaptation. A Dry White Season was actually based on a novel of the same name by famed Afrikaans writer André Brink. Building a career of holding the stories of the people's histories and struggles that are dear to her and encoding them into the language of cinema, her layered works include commentaries on ideas of negritude, feminism, French colonialism, Pan-Africanism, and more from her particular French-Caribbean vantage point. It's on the occasion of the 30th anniversary of A Dry White Season, by now having written, directed, and produced over a dozen feature films and a handful of shorts across documentary and fiction, that we celebrate the auteur in all her poetic mastery, not only with this screening, but with a retrospective featuring a selection of 3 of her most signature works. And that will be here this fall. So the retrospective is called Poet of Relation, The Essential Euzhan Palcy, programmed by myself, and that runs here at the Lightbox from October 3rd to 9th. And you can find more information about that on tiff.net with the launch of our fall season on September 25th, so please look out for that. For now, please join me in welcoming to the stage Euzhan Palcy.
Hello, good afternoon. And I'm going to ask you to applaud yourself as the audience. That's very important. Okay. Yes, thank you. You know why? Because we filmmakers, we suffer a lot, you know, and some to make films. And and sometimes, you know, it's like a pregnant woman who carry a baby for months and months and months, and that baby, you never give that baby life. Because some people might not want that baby. Nobody might not be interested in your baby. And we know that the audience is the jury. The audience is the people who decide, in fact, if more movie will be made. Because when we put a movie like today, the movie is screened, and look at that beautiful room. Isn't that beautiful? We love that, you know. We love when we make films and you have people coming to see the movie. Okay, so I'm very, very honored to be here today, very happy as well, because this is the anniversary of the release of the film. It was some good 30 years ago, you know, here in Toronto, this very day, today, you know. So that's very important, you know. And I want to say a heartfelt thank, you know, to the TIFF with all the organization, you know, who decided, you know, to bring the movie back and to celebrate that. So thank you to Joanna Vicente, who is here, and her team for doing that. So I'm not going to tell you about the movie because you are here to see it or to see it again, And I prefer to tell you, watch the film, and then don't go. Let's have a conversation. I'll be happy to answer to all your questions if I can, with pleasure. So have a good screening. Thank you.
Please join me in welcoming back to the stage Euzhan Palcy.
Thank you. Did you like the movie? Oh, well, I know that it's a very tough one, you know, but it was necessary, right? Yes. Okay. So, yes, you have a. We'll start the Q&A, but before starting the Q&A, I would like to thank somebody without who that movie will not exist. And I want to talk about a man that I used to call my American godfather, Robert Redford. Yes, yes, because I wrote him a very long letter, but we won't have time, so I will just introduce my letter, giving you some explanation, and then I will read, the end of the letter, because Robert, after I did my first movie, Sugarcane Alley, Robert Redford, it was the second year of Sundance Institute. And he opened Sundance to one country, France. So he sent Frank Daniel to Paris to choose among 10 young filmmakers, a French filmmaker, young filmmaker, to come to represent France, at Sundance. And guess what? I was picked. So, and I never believed that would have been me, but they said, okay, you go. And it was incredible, the way that he and the whole Sundance Institute, they welcomed me over there. I had my first real fantastic moment, in America at Sundance. So, and he gave me a lot of advices. He gave me time, we will be laying down on the grass and talking about, what I'm doing, and also wanted to make sure that everything was great. For me at Sundance, I had my need. I mean, it made me feel so special. Anyway, so this is what I would like to say to him, to my dear godfather. You helped me get a dry white season off the ground, which made me the first black woman director to be produced by a Hollywood studio. This honor will not have happened without you putting me on the plane to Los Angeles after my 5-time refusal to go to Hollywood. You told me, no, you should meet the studio. It was Warner Brothers. And Lucy Fisher, who was the senior vice president at the time, who wanted me to come because she loved Sugarcane Alley, my first film. You told me, no, you should meet the studio and see what could evolve to meet with Lucy Fisher, making sure we knew one another and beginning our working relationship. Without your gentle but firm insistence, a dry white season will not exist to be celebrating its 30th anniversary this year with you, today. Without your championing me, I would not have been able to make the films I have made in Los Angeles. So I thank you in the most heartfelt way, in the name of the people of South Africa, of all people who have suffered segregation, apartheid, injustice, and thrive to tell their stories. Your advice and unwavering support through the years have always touched and inspired me. There are things you told me or shared with me that allowed me to avoid some of the pitfalls of dealing with this industry. Lessons I took to heart and apply constantly. You have always been there for me, and I have great respect, love, and appreciation for you and all you have done. I want to say to you, thank you, my dear American godfather. And this is why I must return a moment to speak to upcoming generation of filmmakers. They owe you a debt they can never repay for the legacy that is your Sundance Institute. They must understand how much Sundance means to this industry, how it gives the voiceless a platform to express themselves and to listen to. It changed everything. For the opportunity it has given unknowns, for the effect it has had on acquisitions and distribution, and for its immeasurable impact on cinematic culture as a whole. This is perhaps the greatest legacy, your greatest legacy, and you strive even today to make it even more relevant. I'm almost done. Yes, it is a sadness to hear you speak of retirement. Only the knowledge of your films, because of their timeless nature and artistry, will always be accessible counters the loss of future work, and the grief is replaced with joy. Maybe, personally, you may be glad to be out of the public eyes, but in movie houses and individual homes, a Robert Redford will be playing again and again and again. And we know you will be ever watchful of what we do in the future. So we do not say goodbye, we say à bientôt.
It was beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that with us and also your film. It's
Thank you very
amazing.
much.
What is it like, Euzhan, to be back here 30 years later, watching the film, thinking about the career that you've had, the wonderful career that you've had, the wonderful people who you've worked with on screen and off screen? What's it like to reflect back on this 30 years later?
You know, I will tell you that I left the screening because I was crying. I got emotional. You know, watching that film 30 years later, you know, it's because so many things came back, you know. I mean, it was a very tough experience, you know, to be able to show all this, but I knew that I had to do it. And I told my parents that, you know, I'm going to, I might die. They might call you and say that your daughter is dead. The South African police killed her, you know. You will cry, but don't be sad because I know what I'm doing and it's necessary. And as a filmmaker, I believe that filmmakers, they do have missions, okay? We have mission, all of us on this earth, on this planet, you know? We come to life. When we are born, we have a mission, but we might not know which one is it. We can walk past it. We can know what it is, but oh, no, I don't want to do that, it's too complicated, okay? And there are some people very early on, they know, and they know they have to go for it, and that was my case. I was 10 years old when I decided to be a filmmaker. And I did, and it was important for me to talk about people. I'm not interested in politics, I'm interested in the effect of politics on human beings. How does it make them feel? How does it change their life? How does it help them to grow? So I can talk, all my movies, I want them to be universal. Yes, and I couldn't, you see, for example, I couldn't accept the idea of being a filmmaker. We're a woman, being black, and not being able to take a big risk, even to die, making a movie like that, if that could help people to understand that what is going on here is wrong. It's absolutely wrong. We cannot defend that. We cannot say, okay, it's okay, you know? So it was important. And today, I mean, when we make the movie, of course, we did it, and I want to thank Alain Jr., who accepted everything that I asked. He let me do my movie, Alain Jr. at MGM. He gave me what I needed, and my producer, Paula Weinstein, as well, that I picked among many producers. You know, I said, that woman, I want her to produce that movie with me. And I was able to have the cast that I wanted because, in Hollywood, when they make a movie about a situation or they go to a foreign country and there are black people involved, they have that tendency of hiring black African, let's say African-American actors, which, to all the respect I have for them. But they do that, they hire them to portray those black folks in their country and mimic them, try to walk like them and take the accents that they don't get right anyway. And I didn't want that. I wanted, I told Alan Jr., sir, I'm so sorry. I know that it's hard for Hollywood, but I want the black South African actors to have a voice. I'm not here, I'm not making a movie. I'm not making a Hollywood movie. It's a Hollywood production, but it's a Euzhan Palcy's film. So I want to have black South African actors to portray themselves. I want to give them a voice because I'm sure that you agree with me. When you have a Gordon going and looking for his son, talking with his South African accent, and when he's crying, you feel for him because he's real, And those people, those people, the black folks who are in the movie, they went through that every day. Their parents went through that. They lost parents. I mean, Zakes Mokae, the man who played the cab driver, he couldn't. They call him. They kill. They hang his brother in jail at John Foster Square. They kill him there. Then the father started to question. They killed the father, and Zakes couldn't go back to South Africa because they will kill him. And Donald Sutherland, that fantastic Donald Sutherland, when we were shooting the scene in the mortuary, when Ben wants to see the body, he wants to see it to believe, okay? And he's right, that's good, because he can tell you, but that will never replace what your eyes will see and how that make you feel. So, when we couldn't shoot, we lost half a day. Because when he went in, we did the rehearsal, and Donald saw the body, the actor in the coffin. He freaked out, and he couldn't take it. He just because, I made sure that those actors who came from South Africa, and they had to go all the way from London on fake, a contract, pretending that they were going to England for a play. So they could give them their passport to leave the country. They went all the way to England to come back next door to Zimbabwe. Okay? And every night, they will feed Donald. I did it for 15 days before the shooting. But then he had the real people there talking, explaining. He would ask questions, and he was having dinner with them. And then to see that man, Winston, in the coffin with the whole thing, he couldn't take it, and we stopped. We did something else, and I told him, "What happened? Explain to me if I can help in any sense." And he said, "It was hard. I don't know why, but I had the feeling that those guys, when the movie will be over, they will go back home. They'll kill them, And I say, I hope that the studio will do whatever they can to prevent that. And also they did because the whole set was closed. Nobody, no journalist, nobody was able to get on the set because they would talk about who is there, whatever. And that was very dangerous, okay? So, and even myself, I did the whole shooting, I had 2 bodyguards, for 6 months after the shooting in Paris. And every day we'll be changing drivers, Paula Weinstein and myself. We had, 2 police, 2 security people outside our suite, doing the shooting. It was dangerous. And while I was doing all this, they were killing Dulcie September in Paris, who was the representative of the ANC, because they decided to do a day of terror. Every country in the world that had a representative of the ANC, in one day they shot them all. They killed them. And when I went before to be able to write that script that you saw, this is my script. I had to go and question people. I had to feel that country, smell South Africa, okay? Meet people, white people and black people. The white one, I met them in Zimbabwe, but they were South African who went in exile, in Zimbabwe because they would kill them because they were poor ANC. And I went to Soweto under a fake name, and I said, okay, I'm a musician. I'm looking. Sorry. Yeah, I'm looking. I was saying that I'm a musician, and I'm looking for polyphonic voices like the one that you heard, Lady Smith's Black Mambazo. I'm looking for a South African singer to do a record. I'm a musician. And even if they have checks, they will see that the truth, because I did record, some for children many years when I was a student. Anyway, and that's how And I met somebody who helped me too, and I want to say thank you too. It was a Dr. Ntato Motlana. They used to call him the surgeon, the Soweto surgeon, because he was the one who will, take the kids, the broken kids, and the wounded kids, and cure them. And that little man, short man, very energetic, was Nelson Mandela's doctor and godfather of his daughters. And he was in Paris, and my spy told me, oh, there is one here, I went, we had dinner, and I told him that I need to go to South Africa to make some research to write the script and complete the book. So he said, okay, are you sure you want to do that? But they'll kill you. And I don't care. I got to make that movie, okay? So otherwise I don't deserve to be called a filmmaker, with a conscience. And he said, okay. And he arranged everything for me, everything. And he sent me a driver. And I was trying to explain, to understand how Stanley, they never got him, And I understood by looking at that guy, how he was maneuvering. I was sitting in the car one day. We go to Soweto, and the police, had all this fire thing, The police arrested him, said, okay, where are you going? And he just said, the American lady want to see the township, because at that time it was a good thing for tourism. Everybody wanted to go to see the township, Soweto, make pictures. Anyway, so when the minute that he says the American ladies, she want to visit the township, he said, okay, go. And they salute me, and I didn't say, if I have opened my mouth, he will say, okay, go to jail immediately, because you are French. And no French was boycotting South Africa, and no South African plane was allowed, to land in France. And also no movies, South African movies, were allowed to be screened, in Paris, in England, and some of the places like that. So that's why I had to shut my mouth and don't say, and I am American, okay. So, and that's okay. And that's how, when I went there is something like 10 women, they came with dishes to pretend that we were having a party, And they told me, and they brought all men, young people, I recorded them all. They told me about the torture. The torture scene that you have here, they are real. People went through that. They told me, they described it to me, like when he's, he said, are you ready to talk or ready to fly? They call it the airplane. And all this, I wrote that's in the movie. Many dialogue, many things to complete the book. Because André Brink has no way of knowing these things in detail like that, because he was white and he's Afrikaner, and he never went to Soweto, and he wouldn't be able to get there neither. So that's how I was able to write that script, put everything inside, all the events that they told me, how it happened, how they shot the kids, how many babies died, I didn't put everything they told me, because you wouldn't be able to look at the movie. So after that, I was just broken. When I finished the film, I was sick, because I saw so many footage, so many terrible things, Mixed couple being, chopped. They chopped them, because to punish them, it was terrible. Anyway, so now Yes, I think that it was. I'm glad that I made the movie, and I'm glad I'm still alive. Yes. Yeah, and people was telling me, don't waste your time. Why don't you make the movie today? Talk about the situation today. I said no, because if everybody wants to talk about what is happening today, no period piece, nothing. How can a nation? How can people measure? Their progress. Well, how was it, and how it is today? What happened? Did you make progress or not? And I said, hell no, I'm not going to do that. I want to do it at the time that happened and exactly the way it happened. And that's it.
We were going to open it up to the
Yes.
audience, but do you guys want to hear a little bit more from Euzhan? She's such a wonderful speaker. Yeah. Euzhan, I would love to know, so this film was about South Africa, which apartheid was a topic that was very dear to you and that you were very concerned about. Yeah. And your first film, Sugarcane Alley, took place in Martinique, which is where you're from.
Yes.
And that was the first film that had really, maybe not featured Martinique, but there wasn't really a film industry in Martinique. And that's,
No.
And so for you, you were kind of creating a Martinican cinema as you were going.
Yeah.
Can you talk about your idea of Martinican cinema and Black cinema and how you fit into these things?
Well, it was, when I reflect on that today, in French we will say it was le parcours du combattant. That means the journey, the combatant, you say the soldier journey, the training, to train yourself and fight to get something done. It was that. And I went to France, I studied. I went to the best film school in Paris, Louis Lumière, the one who invented cinema, and I studied also at Sorbonne. I studied, opera, theater, and film as well, because I was interested in all those arts. And but when I wrote this, I adapted the book from Joseph Zobel for Sugarcane Alley, my first film. Nobody wanted to touch it. Nobody wanted to do it because, it was black. All the characters were black, and they didn't want to produce it because for them, well, no, it's not interesting, I don't know why was it. And it's still today, well, last few years that things start to be changing and black folks are a little bit more trendy those days, okay? I will say it that way. But for years, for more than 20 years, I've been on the road, to talk about fighting and explain to people, explain to me what is it when it comes to black folks, diversity, it's not bankable. That's what they were telling me. Black is not bankable. We won't know how to market this. People won't go and see it. It's a waste of the money. Female don't even talk about it. It's the same thing. That's what I heard over and over and over. So you can imagine that the woman who is standing in front of you and who said to you that I was 10 years old when I decided to make film, I knew why I wanted to make film. Okay? Not just to entertain and be happy and I'm a filmmaker, I'm known or I get a lot of money. I didn't care about these things. I wanted to make film to make a difference. I was very naive at the time because I was thinking, okay, the world is waiting for me to show them who we are, talk about our stories, put some black color on the screen, They will love it. They will ask for more. I did Sugarcane Alley finally, because I had another godfather in Paris, François Truffaut, who really helped me, supported me, when I did my first movie. And that movie that nobody wanted to touch in Europe, in France, went to Venice Film Festival and got 5 awards at Venice Film Festival, including the Lion for Best First Film and Best Actress for The Grandmother. and 20 international awards. And then how the studio called me, because they love Sugarcane Alley, and they brought me, they wanted to work with me, to do a dry white season. No, not a dry white season. They wanted to make me to come and work with them, to do their films. Anyway, so now I have been the first of too many first, and that makes me sad, because I shouldn't be still, I cannot understand that. I would prefer to be the 10th ones, instead of being the first of so many first. And it's a long journey, and I started my career in 1983. And you realize that it's only now that we have female directors coming and being, making films, showing their films. But I have been on the road for all those years. People keep asking me. Today I had 3 interviews. They say, "Where have you been? We didn't see, we were starving for your work, and what did you do? Why? And I kept saying, listen, I've been there. I've been training young female directors. I've been training young black filmmakers, helping them with their screenplay, helping them, train them. Okay? And I've been writing a lot. So I have a lot of screenplays ready. And I'm ready now. Because I knew that things would change. And I've been there. My agent, William Morris Agency, they went nuts with me. They couldn't understand, because I turned down more than 150 scripts that they were giving me, because they couldn't understand why I would say no. And I said, you know what, I'm sorry, but you accepted to represent me, but I'm who I am. How do you love my work? You love Sugarcane Alley. You know who I am. And when you send screenplay to me, it's all, I would say, white stories, because when they refer to our movies, they say black stories, okay? But they don't, one told me, well, we won't know how to market this, it will be difficult, and my boys, they will give me hell, to market that. Because I was talking about, Bessie Coleman, the first Negro female pilot that I wanted to do. I discovered that woman 25 years ago. It's a great story. They wouldn't touch it because she's female, she's black, too many negative things, okay? So, and I say, I'm not going to give up, but I don't want to do your stories because you don't want to do mine. I'm sorry. No, that's true. It's very hard, and people might think that I'm stupid because I made that decision. But very honestly, it's like almost like a child who said, "Okay, if I cannot say mother or dad, I prefer to be mute." That's what I did, But I had people. And I wrote screenplays. And so that's why, I turned down all those stories that they were giving me, because I didn't want to be used to tell other people's stories when they don't want to tell mine. Okay? I say, okay, it's a trade-off. I do yours, you do mine. Okay, I can compromise and do it. Yes. But now things change with the social media.
Yes.
And the platforms out there. And, they need content, so they don't care what color you are or gender, then they want your stories because there are people out there. And they demonstrate that black stories can be very successful. And now they cannot say, well, that one made money, but, it's an accident. I heard that too. And now when you have Get Out, Black Panther is the last one. Let's start. Get Out, The Butler, Hidden Figures. There is one more. Yes, great. We have all the. It is not an and then Black Panther 1 billion something. How can you say now that there is not an audience for those stories? And as I said, if the story is good, whatever the color of the people who are in or the gender, if the story is very good and well marketed, without saying, it's a black story, it's a Latino one. No, it is a piece of art. It's a movie. You market it like that, people will go to the theater. And the proof that I have is my first movie that became an international hit. Still today, Sugarcane Alley. And I experienced it again a few weeks ago at Locarno Film Festival. 500 people in the room. They came to see that film, that old woman's Sugarcane Alley. And it's impacting the young generations. They love it, still today.
Well, that is my favorite film of yours. But this is, I think that we can all agree, this is absolutely timeless and an absolutely essential work. And thank you so much for sharing it with us.
Thank you.
Euzhan Palcy.
Thank you.
So we will be rescreening this film in the fall for the retrospective Poet of Relation, The Essential Euzhan Palcy. Starts October 3rd to October 9th. All of the information about that retrospective will be on our website on September 25th, so please look out for that. Please join me again in giving thanks to Euzhan Palcy for being here.
Thank you very much. It was a real pleasure being here with you on that anniversary day. So it's my gift and the gift for all the South African people and all those actors who died, And thank you again. Thank you.